Folks, something is very, very wrong in Freville, and I mean that in the best possible way, because after watching the episode 10 trailer for If a Tree Falls in the Forest on repeat, and trust me, I have watched it more times than I probably should have, I am sitting here genuinely unsettled. Not in a casual, oh, that looks interesting kind of way. I mean the kind of unsettled where your brain won't let you sleep because it keeps connecting dots that you really, really wish didn't connect as cleanly as they do. Because what this trailer is showing us is not just a tense season finale. What this trailer is showing us is the complete and total unraveling of everything our survivors thought they understood about Freville. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Think about where we are right now. Jade and Tabitha went down into that chamber. They found the bones, they dug them up. And for one brief, beautiful moment, it actually looked like the plan was going to work. It looked like maybe, just maybe, these people were finally going to catch a break. But Freville doesn't do breaks. Freville doesn't do mercy. And the second those bones came out of the ground, the monsters woke up. And now Jade and Tabitha are sitting at the bottom of that chamber with nothing but a tarp, a talisman, and whatever is left of their courage standing between them and something that absolutely 100% wants them dead. And meanwhile up top, Boyd and the crew are trying to pull a massive tree out of the ground. No plan B, no backup, no safety net. Just a rope, a group of desperate people, and the hope that they can do something that this town has probably never allowed anyone to do before. And based on what this trailer is showing us, based on the red lightning, the earthquake, the absolute chaos that appears to be breaking out across Freville, I think it is very safe to say that pulling that tree out of the ground is going to come with a cost that none of our characters are fully prepared to pay. And that cost? I think it might be the most devastating thing this show has ever done to us. So buckle up, because episode 10 is looking like it is going to be an absolute war. And today we are going to break down every single detail of this trailer, every shot, every line of dialogue, every hidden connection, and figure out exactly what is waiting for our survivors in the season 4 finale of From. Let's get into it. So the trailer opens and right away the tone is set. We see Boyd walking out of the medical clinic and the sky behind him is not the sky we are used to seeing in Freville. It is not the normal dark, threatening night sky that our survivors have learned to survive under. No. What we are seeing here is red lightning. Actual red lightning cutting through the sky above this town. And as that image hits the screen, we hear a voiceover from Sophia, and she is saying that this is the end. That it always gets messy in the end. And the moment I heard those words come out of her mouth, I immediately thought back to Ethan. Because if you have been watching this show from the very beginning, you already know that Ethan said something almost identical all the way back in season 1. He told us that the closer you get to the end of the quest, the scarier things get. He told us it gets really messy. And at the time, a lot of us probably chalked that up to a child processing a terrifying situation through the language of stories and fairy tales. But now it is starting to feel a lot less like a coping mechanism and a lot more like a warning that was hiding in plain sight the whole time. And that is the thing about From that keeps pulling me back episode after episode. This show plants seeds so far in advance that by the time they actually bloom, you almost can't believe you didn't see it coming. Ethan was telling us exactly what was going to happen. He was telling us that the story always demands a price at the end. And now here we are, standing right at the edge of that ending, and Sophia is echoing his exact words back to us like a reminder that nobody listened close enough when they should have. And I think that is deliberate. I think the writers are connecting those two moments on purpose to remind us that the rules of this place, whatever rules actually govern Freville, have been consistent from the very beginning. The story has a shape, and that shape ends badly for the people inside it. Now what exactly is causing this red lightning is the question that I cannot stop thinking about. Because on the surface, the obvious answer is that it is connected to the faraway tree being removed. But here is where it gets really interesting. When we actually slow down and look carefully at the lightning bolt itself, something very strange jumps out. The lightning does not appear to be coming down from the sky. It appears to be coming up from the ground and shooting into the sky, which means whatever energy is being released here is not coming from above. It is coming from below. It is coming from the earth itself. And if that is true, then what we might be watching is Freville releasing some kind of energy into the atmosphere, some kind of force that has been locked inside this place. Maybe inside that tree, maybe inside those bones, maybe inside something even deeper that we haven't fully understood yet, and now that force is escaping. And the red lightning is just the visible symptom of what is happening underneath the surface of this town. And that connection to the faraway tree becomes even more interesting when you go back and look at one of Victor's drawings. Because Victor drew Colony House, he drew it in detail. And in that drawing, there is red lightning in the sky above the building. There are shadowy figures standing in the yard outside Colony House. And here is the part that really got me. The drawing is clearly set during the day, not at night, during the day. Which raises a question that I genuinely was not prepared to be asking this deep into the season. What if the red lightning gives the monsters the ability to come out during the day? What if removing the faraway tree or stealing those bones has broken something so fundamental about the way Freville operates that the one rule our survivors have always been able to count on, the night is dangerous, day is safe, is about to stop being true? Because if that happens, these people don't just have a harder situation on their hands, they have a completely impossible one. The daytime has always been their reset button. It has always been the window where they can breathe, plan, recover, and find some small piece of hope to hold on to. And if Freville takes that away from them in the season finale, then I am genuinely worried about how many of these characters are going to make it to season 5. And let's not overlook the fact that Victor's drawing also shows the faraway tree right next to Colony House, which is strange because there is no faraway tree right next to Colony House in the show. So either Victor drew it symbolically, or he was drawing something that hasn't happened yet. A future version of Freville. A version where the removal of the tree has changed the physical landscape of the town in some way that we haven't seen yet. And the fact that the tree in his drawing appears to have its roots exposed like it has been pulled out of the ground makes me think that this drawing is not a memory, it is a prophecy. Victor knew this was coming. He drew it, and nobody connected the dots until now. Now let's talk about what is happening inside that chamber. Because this is the part of the trailer that has me the most emotionally worked up, and I want to make sure we give it the attention it deserves. We see a shot of the children's bones inside the tomb, and we hear Jade speaking to Tabitha. And what he says stops me cold every single time I hear it. He tells her that they need to finish this. He tells her that her children deserve to go home. And I want you to pay very close attention to the specific words he chose there. He said her children, not our mission. Not we need to finish this. He said you need to finish this. He said your children deserve to go home. And then separately, Boyd confirms up top that there is no plan B. Now, I am not going to sit here and tell you with 100% certainty that Jade is about to sacrifice himself. But I am going to tell you that that dialogue hit me like a goodbye. It is structured like a farewell. It is the kind of thing a person says when they have already decided that they are not going to make it out of a situation, and they want to make sure the person they care about understands what still needs to be done after they are gone. He is not talking about a shared plan anymore. He is talking about passing the responsibility to Tabitha, and that worries me deeply. Because the way this show writes its most painful moments, it tends to earn them slowly and then deliver them fast. And this feels like a moment that has been earned slowly over the course of an entire season. Now I will say this, we do have one more season after this. Season 5 is confirmed as the final season of From. And it would be a very bold storytelling choice to remove Jade from the board before we even get there. He has been one of the most central mystery-solving characters this entire show has had. His connection to the symbol, his visions, his entire arc, it all feels unfinished. So logically, killing him off in the season 4 finale makes very little sense from a narrative standpoint. But emotionally, that dialogue felt like a goodbye. And this show has surprised me before. But let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture of what Jade and Tabitha are actually dealing with in that chamber. Because remember, the plan was never just to find the bones. The plan was to get the bones and get out. And the monsters are now awake and aware of their presence. We see the cowboy monster pulling down the tarp. We see the monsters entering the chamber, which means either the talisman stopped working, or Boyd successfully removed the tree, and in doing so opened the chamber back up, or both things happened at once. And in any of those scenarios, the situation for Jade and Tabitha goes from incredibly dangerous to almost unsurvivable in the span of a single moment. And this is where I think the bones themselves become the most interesting variable in the equation. Because the entire theory behind taking the bones was that they could be used to break the cycle. That returning these children's remains to where they belong could somehow disrupt the hold that Freville has on its victims. But what if the act of taking the bones doesn't just break the cycle? What if it breaks something else entirely? What if it breaks the agreement or the order or whatever invisible structure is holding this place together? And what we are seeing with the red lightning and the earthquake and the monsters becoming more aggressive is Frevel's equivalent of an immune response? The town is fighting back because something has been taken from it that it was never supposed to lose. And it is going to keep escalating until either the bones are returned or the people responsible are punished. Which puts Jade and Tabitha in the most dangerous possible position, holding the exact thing that Frevel is trying to protect, surrounded by monsters at the bottom of a cave with no plan B. And above them, Boyd is running out of time. We see him, Christy, Randall, and the rest of the group doing everything they can to get that tree out of the ground. And Christy asks, "What do we do now?" Which tells me that whatever the original plan was, it is already starting to fall apart before they have even finished executing it. And Boyd's answer, "There is no plan B," lands with a weight that I think is going to define the entire final act of this season. Because when the only plan you have starts to crack and there is nothing waiting behind it, what you get is desperation. And desperate people in Frevel make choices that the town uses against them. We have seen it happen over and over again, and I have a very strong feeling we are about to see it happen on the largest scale this show has ever attempted. Folks, something is very, very wrong in Frevel, and I mean that in the best possible way, because after watching the episode 10 trailer for If a Tree Falls in the Forest on repeat, and trust me, I have watched it more times than I probably should have, I am sitting here genuinely unsettled. Not in a casual, "oh, that looks interesting" kind of way,